Hey guys, how you doing? And welcome back to the channel. Thanks to everyone that checked out the race vid. We've got some really cool feedback. It was a properly good day. Still kind of buzzing from it actually. Those of you that have seen the whole race vid might have noticed we very nearly ran out of fuel. Not prepared to drive all the way to Croft to risk that happening again. So today I'm going to be fitting a 10-litre swirl pot. We've been doing track days for years and we've never really had an issue. We've always been able to run the car right down to the fuel light without getting any fuel starvation issues. However, Silverstone National is just right, a little bit left, right. It's just a lot of rights, and the tank pickup on the car is on the right hand side. So as you turn right, the fuel all goes left and the tank can't pick it up. So it's never been an issue before, but it's become an issue now. This is the third race now where we've been quite borderline on fuel at the end. We want to sort out fuel management. We want to be able to use more of the fuel all of the time. And I'd really like to add a bit more capacity as well, hence why we're fitting a 10-litre swirl pot and not just a little 1 or 2 litre as is more commonly seen. We're going to work out where exactly this is going to go, and I'll see you in a sec. Our first thought was somewhere there. Not actually a bad location, but I've discounted it because we load wheels through here and under. So if the pot goes there, the lines would have to come off and have to go onto the bench, across the bench, and this is where they have to connect under the access tank. So that's a no-go. So this was kind of my second thought over there, because we currently tend to load wheels on the right-hand side. However, if it goes over there, the hoses are going to have to come out, across the bench, up and into the connection point there. So even though the tank is over there, the hoses there are still going to be exposed when we load wheels through here. I know it sounds a bit daft, but the wheel loading consideration is actually a massive thing for us, because we take so many wheels to the track to allow for every condition. We don't have a tyre rack on the trailer, it's an open trailer. Until such time as I get my own trailer with the ability to put a tyre rack on it, we have to be able to load wheels into the car. So option 3 is going to be somewhere here. So you've got the tank, the hose fittings are off here, so the supply and return will go straight down into the access point there. You've got out of here and down, so that's going to go through that access and down to the fuel pump. And also, because this needs to be boxed in as part of MS UK regs, I can have the tank access cover off and a box that boxes in the whole lot in one hit. So all the connections will be completely isolated from the driver compartment. It's not the most ideal for weight distribution, obviously, because I sit there and I'm not light. So putting another 10 kilos behind me isn't fantastic. I'd rather it were on the left. But in terms of overall practicality, loading wheels and stuff into the car, this is the best place for it. Not gonna lie, it's quite daunting drilling through when you know your fuel tank is below. Right. I don't have an actual M10 bulkhead fitting yet, but this is not M10, AN10. This is the AN10 to M18 for the fuel pump. Nice fit in there, so that is where that's going to go. So what we have here is a kind of early iteration of what I'm doing. So we've got two kind of runners made out of angle. They're going to sit like that. The fitting where it comes through is down here. Room in there for a fitting under there to come out the side. They are going to get welded down. So I'm just going to cut and fold some ends onto this end, and then we'll level it up and get it tacked in. Quick stop for lunch, but I've now made these rails to go in. So fairly simple rail that goes in. I've actually put a captive nut on the inside. So what I'm going to do now is bolt the pot to them and offer it up, clean up the ends, get ready to weld it in. So that is solid, absolutely no rock on it. This is only a rough idea, but we're within 0.3, 0.2 that way, ever so slightly down to the back. Make the noise, and we'll chuck it on left to right. There we go, within 0.2, 0.1 at the same time. Happy with that. There we go, that's tacked in, solid. So I'm going to unbolt the pot and weld these in fully. So that's welded in. I am not a welder, but I don't think it looks too bad. Same at the front, a little bit less neat, but they're in, they're solid. I've sanded it all down. So that is now ready for a bit of paint. And there we go. The paint is dry, tank is mounted, bolted down, absolutely solid. So next up, we have fittings. We've got a bunch of AN10 hose and some AN6, all supplied by Ben at Corton Miller. And then we've got a bunch of Torx AN fittings. I'm going to get some of these on the tank and start chopping hoses. So now we've got a couple of lines made up, so I'll just talk you through what they are. So this one is out of the main in-tank pump, so it comes out of the tank into the top of the pot, so that's filling the pot. This is a return back to the main tank, so when the pot gets full, overflows out of here and back in there. This one is your return from the engine, comes round, and that is going into the bottom of the pot. The reason we've done it that way is when the in-tank runs completely dry, it is going to start pumping air in when we're just on the last 10 litres of that. If I ran that one into the base here, you'd be pumping air into the fuel, which is not going to be great. Now there is an argument that says that pumping the engine return into here is not great because it will be hotter fuel. However, we're not talking about like a 1 or 2 litre tank. There's a 10 litre body of fuel in here, and it should be going in and largely rising to the top and just being recirculated. So that's the 3 simple hoses done. So now I'm going to take them off, whip the tank out, and look at getting this fitting in underneath and plumbed down to the fuel pump. Right, well, I've got the AN10 line made up to go from the bulkhead fitting down to the pump, something like that. So I'm going to try and get this in. It's quite tricky. Not totally sure it's possible. Right, got the fuel line in. It's almost impossible to do up the fitting by hand, and it is impossible to get any kind of conventional spanner to them. So what I've done, and you are going to laugh at this, I have made the claw. Here's the line I've made. So it comes off the tank, believe it or not, fits through there, fits up round here, clears all the beam fittings in here. That goes alright. The only thing is I cannot get up there to do it up. This amazing tool I just showed you. Amazing, hey? God, this is a pain in the arse. One pump, AN10, up to the fitting up in there. It is done up. My super spanner went through several iterations, and I'm not going to lie, that is a hateful job beyond words. But it's in. We are done under here, I believe. So I'm going to drop it down and actually install the tank inside. Right, so we're going to skip forward a bit. That is now plumbed up. So we've got feed and return to the OE tank, return from the engine back into the pot, an AN10 gravity feed that is falling the whole way through a bulkhead fitting down there, down to the pump. So now I'm going to make a start using a bunch of alley, building a bit of a framework that's going to go in here to box this in. A few moments later. Right, one framework. So that is countersunk, bolted down to the rails, really solid. So we're going to get the tank sat back on there, and then we're going to build a box, which is going to essentially bolt into the sides of this. Right, let's get cracking. I got seriously fed up with the box. It is actually basically finished, but I've had enough of it for now. So I've put the tank in, I've put all the fuel lines together, and I'm just going to fire it up and see if it leaks. So we're going to turn the key, see if it fills up and primes off the end tank, and then once we've got a bit of fuel in it, just check underneath, make sure there's no leaks, and then we'll fire the car up. Here we go, turning the key for a prime. This ain't good. This is petrol everywhere. And there is fuel everywhere. Shit. If you're going to get one of these tanks, something needs fixing with the lid. I'm probably going to plate it over with a bit of 3mm alley. Jesus Christ. I'm very quickly just going to turn the ignition on, not run the car. Turn the ignition on just to show you exactly where it's leaking. 'Cause I haven't even seen for myself, so I don't even know for sure. Wow, it's not even the breather, is it? It's not even the breather, it's bloody everywhere. Next up in Prawn's new series of Don't Try This at Home.
Look at me, sure. And the fuel pump. Yeah.
Manually pumping the fuel out of the swell pot. Right, it's another day. We're back on it. The box is basically there. All I've got left to do is figure out these parts. I'm going to piece on here to make the top frame, close the sides in, and then we'll put a lid on it. Right, well, it's chucked it down, so I'm in the gazebo, and now the sun's come out. But we do have a box, so that is now all framed up, nice cap around the top, ready for a lid. One box done. The lid bolts on. It's now all prepped for paint. It's all come out reasonably okay. Rattle cans it is. One box, nicely done, in satin black, ready to go in the car.
And now for something completely different.
Alright guys, join us back on another glorious day in the British summertime. So we are undercover here and we're going to be putting the turbo back on. Although I'm not actually going to be doing this. We have Mr. Nick Vaughan from TeamPrawnRacing here.
Morning.
We're going to be exchanging our services. That sounds a little bit...
That's a bit questionable, isn't
it? It does, doesn't it? So Nick is going to be doing that
in the rain.
Whilst I have the pleasure of welding a bomb. So yeah, so now this is full of fuel, full of fumes. I'm going to set light to it with a TIG torch.
So whilst Andy's in there, in the garage, which may or may not have a radiator, I haven't seen one, I am going to be out here enjoying the British summertime. So obviously I'm used to little baby turbos like my G25, so today I'm going to be fitting, brace yourself, this monster. Right, one HX40 Super. One.
It's not actually.
Is it not?
It's not Super.
It's just kind of an HX40 all right then, rather than a Super one.
So this has been purging for a few minutes. It is now full of argon and we're just about to test that. As soon as it goes in, it extinguishes.
Pretty cool that, isn't it? And being heavier than being heavier than air, that will stay in there, and even with the top off, it won't come out, will it?
Mhm.
I like it.
There you go. Not exploded.
It's warm, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, quite warm.
Now all I need is a Scotch-Brite on a drill so I can just brush the top.
I'll probably wait until it cools down on that. What a twat. It's looking alright?
Yeah.
Not too bad. And there we go. There's Nick. Watering your finger down.
Yeah. I put my finger in this pool of water. I'm not joking, that's really bad. That's really, really bad. Who would do that?
Who would do that? Who would just finish welding? What's that? There's probably about 2 foot of welding, and then touch it instantly.
Right.
What a prick.
So I'm gonna have to wrap that one up there, guys. You may or may not notice, not a Team Prawn top. By the time you see this, I should have the fuel cell and everything in the car. I should have something else on the boot lid. See what's missing. Tune in next week. But yeah, thank you very much for watching. I hope this has given some of you a few ideas. If anyone's got any comments or suggestions, please let us know, because by the time you see this, it will still be a week until we race at Croft. I'm off to Cornwall for the week for some work, and I will see you all in the next one. Take care, guys. My hair is fluffy.